This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How we doing today on a hump day? Happy Wednesday. And hello to everybody who's watching us on a replay. StreamYard this morning reminded me to say hello to all the replay viewers who are watching us on the BamaCentral YouTube channel, BamaCentral Facebook page. You're listening to us on Apple Podcast, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. You can find the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral. We appreciate everybody who's watching us, rating us, subscribing, reviewing the program, leaving us comments on your favorite platform, and, of course, leaving us voicemails at 205-462-7340, extension 800. The program is brought to you by Purple Turtle Roofing. You can check them out online at roofturtle.com. And you can check out Derek Daniel State Farm Insurance right here off McFarland Boulevard. That's where we are sitting right now, just past the Tiger Rock on the left. You can check out Derek Daniel. Call him, 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. Call and see how much money he can save you today. A little funny marquee, always updating the marquee. He said, "I don't trust trees. They're too shady," on the sign. So we love a good dad joke. We love a good pun on the sign at Derek Daniel State Farm Insurance. Make sure you call him for all of your insurance needs. We're hanging out with our friend Theo Fernandez. We're going to talk about Alabama football. We're going to talk about the NFL. We're going to talk about court cases. We're going to talk about Noah Rogers. We're going to have a lot of fun as we are 10 days away from kicking off the season for your Alabama Crimson Tide. We're less than that now for week 0. Week 0 is like 3 days away as Saturday's slate. What is better than I originally expected. So, Theo, you getting the warm fuzzies? You getting the tingles? You getting excited? Ready for some football?
Yes, I am. 4 days that's no time at all. We're going to be there before we know it. And it doesn't matter if the games are good or bad, I'd be watching. But yeah, like there are exciting matchups. There is stuff to look forward to. So I will be all over watching as much football as humanly possible on Saturday. And it's always nice when there is a non-Bama week because I feel like you get to just enjoy the games a little bit more when you're not tied down by working. So rare opportunity to fully dive into the college football slate. I will be taking advantage.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. Saturday, I'm going to be going to Bears-Titans, 5 o'clock. A little preseason action, watching Tyson Bagent, the secret Bagent man. They've given him a number, taken away his name, secret Bagent man. I love Tyson Bagent. Do not ever leave. Do not ever leave Chicago, please. Backup quarterback for life.
Is Caleb going to get a quarter?
Highly doubtful. Caleb got a drive in the game last week against Cincinnati, 2 of 5, led a field goal drive. I highly doubt it.
You remember when starters legitimately used to play like a full half of preseason games?
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy to think.
And the math has basically determined that it's not worth it to play those. You work out the kinks in the first couple of weeks when the games actually matter because of the injury risk. So it'll be fun anyways on Saturday. Watching the Bears, watching the Titans. Did you see the uniforms? I mean, if Mason were here, Mason is a uniform junkie. I'll text him after the show. Ask him because Bears uniform, okay. Not great, not horrid. Titans uniform, whew, sexy.
Yeah, those were impressive.
Yeah, so they will not be on display this Saturday, but that'll be a lot of fun. A lot of football coming your way very, very, very soon. High school football, technically week 1. Last week, week 0. High school football week 1, really getting going. Thompson, Clay Chalkville this weekend.
Is that the matchup?
I think Thompson, Clay Chalkville might be tomorrow night. I believe so. So that will be crazy. I know Thompson played a huge game last week. Didn't Thompson? They played Central Phoenix City last week, and they
41-14. Thompson appears primed to just run through the new AHSAA Class 6A.
Have you looked at the classifications?
Yes,
they're horrible.
It is. I don't know. I think they did a solid job with some aspects of it. And then there's just somewhere like, how is this the best we could come up with.
Well, I spent last week at TA doing guest public address. I appreciate them giving me the opportunity to do that. A lot of fun. And so in preparation, I'm like, well, let me check out TA's new region. Last TA was in the private school division, then moved into AHSAA and was in 2A and ended up in a really not favorable, but competitive division that was locally driven by matchups with ACA, with Aliceville, driven by they had a lot of good matchups that were not terrible drives. TA is now Class 1A, and they're playing just some of the not great schools. We'll just say that they should dominate. Is my point. They should absolutely dominate this region. And while it'll feel good for the students and feel good for the players to go 10-0 or whatever, they were in a much better and more competitive region and much more appropriate region when they were in 2A, and now their new 1A region, they're taking drives like 2 hours here, 3 hours there, another hour. It is not good for the regionality of high school football.
The context for anyone not really familiar with the situation is the HSA did a private public split. So Tuscaloosa Academy they're a private school, but they are a pretty normal private school. And now they've basically been grouped into, there are two private school divisions. They've basically been grouped with all of the smallest private schools in Alabama. So like Joe was saying, if you're a tiny private school anywhere in this portion of the state, you're just lumped into a group with Tuscaloosa Academy. TA, by the way, very talented, athletically. I'm right with you. They will be dominating. Meanwhile, on the other side, ACA, American Christian Academy, they were 4A. They were somewhat competitive regularly. I mean, when you have Eric Hines, you're going to dominate in baseball, but they now are grouped in with all of the biggest private schools in Alabama. They might never win anything again. So it is just the private-public split kind of had to happen. But the way that they did it, not great. Meanwhile, I mean, you didn't really address the public schools that are acquiring players by certain means, right? So Thompson, 6A, domination is never going to stop.
Absolutely. Domination for the Warriors as their season continues. And Jeremy Scott bringing us to other bad news from yesterday. Roll Tide and rest in peace, Dolly Parton. I spent most of my afternoon yesterday, Theo, scrolling the Twitter, and it was video clip after song clip after funny moment, sweet moment, heartfelt. I mean, it was just all kinds of Dolly Parton love on the timeline yesterday for her philanthropy, for her musical talent, and for her wit. Man, lost an icon.
Yeah, what a life.
Absolutely. So we say rest in peace to Dolly Parton as well. The one that caught me the most, watching her cover Stairway to Heaven. Led Zeppelin, nobody covers Led Zeppelin. Well, Dolly did, and it was actually really good. So I enjoyed that for sure. All right, let's spin into some Alabama stuff today. Some Alabama athletics, some Crimson Tide athletics. Appreciate everybody watching us on the machines this morning. And Wendell Hare and Jeremy Scott joining us on the comment section. You guys are all welcome on the comment section at any time. Theo, we talked a lot about injuries yesterday, and I don't really want to pick right back up right there, but we missed one on a positive note. We did not talk about Noah Rogers returning to practice on Sunday. Returning to practice on Sunday, and really all we really know about it are some of the footage, some of the photos that we have seen. Yesterday, Coach DeBoer had some comments where he said, yeah, he's not fully participating, but he is back out here. He's padded up. He is ahead of schedule. And I know that my friend Hunter DeCiver has been, I don't want to oversell it, but worried about the third wide receiver spot all summer long. Who's going to pick up the slack of the injured Noah Rogers? Is it going to be Cedarian Morgan? Is it going to be Derek Meadows? What's Rico Scott going to do? That's been Hunter DeCiver's big focus, is who's going to be supporting Ryan Coleman Williams and Lozia Brooks? Who's going to be the third guy? And I'll just throw it right out there to you, Theo. He got hurt at A-Day. We saw it right in front of us, busted up right literally 20 feet from us.
We were part of the field we could see.
We were sitting in the end zone, and it didn't look that bad initially, but then obviously was limped off the field and helped off the field. But Noah Rogers ahead of schedule, and you're thinking week 4, 5, 6, getting him back instead of week 9, 10, 11. What do you think? Another weapon for Keelan Russell to shred the SEC with.
Yeah, so this is such an interesting receiver room because I do believe Ryan Coleman-Williams will become Alabama's first 1,000-yard receiver since 2021. And then after that, I just think it's fascinating. Like, we know Lazier Brooks has the talent. We don't know what his production is going to look like because I think that we will have a very crowded group. So we talk about this idea of, like, who's the number 3 receiver? I have no doubt that Alabama has a player capable of being a wide receiver 3. I don't know if we're going to have a player with necessarily wide receiver 3 numbers because I think you could have, instead of 1 wide receiver 3, you could have 4 wide receiver 4s. And so I just wrote my story yesterday on Rico Scott and was looking back partially at the interviews that Katie Windham did with him at Alabama's Media Day, and then also Ryan Grubb, who gave a pretty good update on him, saying he's had a very nice camp and really embracing his physicality. Rico Scott is a talented football player. He chose to stay here instead of going to be, a superstar at Oregon State. Like, he chose to stay here for a reason. And he spoke about his desire to do something. I mean, the direct quote, "I haven't done anything here yet." You got a guy there who's motivated, a guy there who's experienced, right? Entering his 3rd year of college football. And then you have Derek Meadows, so many nice things to say about him as a player. Sedarian Morgan is going to be a star here one day. And then Noah Rogers is the guy you brought in to be your wide receiver 3. So if you ask me to rank those 4 right now in terms of what will their end of season yardage be, I couldn't give you a concrete answer because I think you could make a case for any of them really stepping up and being that 3rd receiver in the room.
Ooh, that's a fun game. I'm going Ryan Coleman-Williams 1.
Yep.
I'm going Lazier Brooks 2. I'm going 3. Yeah, this is where it becomes fun. And I'm thinking whether in my brain, I'm thinking Derek Meadows, Sedarian Morgan, Marshall Pritchett. Who am I picking? For in terms of yards?
Caleb Edwards, huh?
Well, I'm not picking him in my 3rd one yet. I think he's going to have a good year, but did you not hear Ryan Grubb really praise Marshall? Marshall Pritchett is taking the Josh Cuevas pass catching role. I'm going Ryan Coleman-Williams. I'm going Lazier Brooks. And then, nail me down. I'm riding with you. Derek Meadows 3. I'm riding with you. Number four. Give me Marshall Pritchett. This is all in terms of just yards, not reception, just yards. Number 4, Marshall Pritchett. Give me Sedarian Morgan 5. Give me Caleb Edwards 6. Give me Noah Rogers 7. And give me Rico Scott 8 as far as yardage goes.
I like a lot of what you had there,
okay,
but I do definitely disagree on Caleb Edwards.
Sure.
He doesn't – you can talk about Marshall Pritchett filling this Josh Cuevas role. That's because Caleb Edwards is not Josh Cuevas. Like, he is a very talented tight end, a guy who can do some nice things with the ball in his hands. But you can't just ignore that because he's not the same kind of tight end that Josh Cuevas was. I look at Caleb Edwards as somebody who I think has some incredibly high upside, both here and at the next level. And I think we're really going to see him break out. And we know how much talk there's been about these bigger targets, right? What do you do when you have a 6'6", 260-pounder who can move a lot better than most tight ends in college and who I think is going to be an incredibly impactful player in the blocking game?
Mm-hmm.
I'm flirting in my mind right now with the idea of putting Caleb Edwards at number 3.
Woo! I like it. Now, I'll ask you to elaborate, but let me throw this at you. When I think of Caleb Edwards, everything is filtered through the NFL and NFL perspectives, that sort of thing. When I think of Caleb Edwards, I think of him as a George Kittle type where he is very effective in either blocking or passing, but it's really going to be up to every week. you got to talk to Kyle Shanahan. Is George Kittle going to be a blocker this week, or is he going to be kind of the X factor in the passing game and really breaking coverages open? And look, you can get Kittle, and some weeks it's 10 receptions for 140 and 2 touchdowns, and some weeks it's no receptions for anything because he's just doing the dirty work as a blocker. I think of him as a Kittle kind of type receiver, tight end, but I think of Marshall Pritchett. You remember Evan Ingram?
Yes.
Not a bit of blocking in his game, but he is a deadly receiving weapon as a tight end. That's kind of how. Now, obviously, those are extreme, pumped up examples, pumped up comparisons. I'm not calling either of those players the comparisons. I'm just saying that those are that's the style of game, the style of their play. So I think that Marshall Pritchett, I mean, love it. Hopefully I think Caleb Edwards is a great athlete, and his size is beautiful. I love him. I think he's just going to be used in a role where this week, he is really in the passing game, and next week he is really just not and blocking people on the in-line of scrimmage.
Well, you scarred me by saying Evan Engram. You know, Eagles fans in 2020 voted Evan Engram into the Pro Bowl because he dropped a game-losing pass for the Giants. Marshall Pritchett, please have better hands than Evan Engram. But I think you bring up an interesting point there, and I like the Kittle comparison. And the reason that I think that almost reinforces my Caleb Edwards take is I think you can have a game or two this season where Caleb Edwards could be your leading receiver on the team. Like if you're looking at consistent, 4 receptions, 24 yards for Pritchett, right? Just chipping away. And maybe some days it's higher, some days it's lower. I could see 7 receptions, 89 yards, and a touchdown for Caleb Edwards on a particular Saturday. So if I'm going to rank these guys.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to go Ryan 1. I'm going to go Brooks 2. Give me Caleb Edwards, number 3. I'm going to go Meadows right behind him at 4. Sedarian 5, Marshall 6. That one feels interchangeable. Might be a little low on Marshall there. And then give me Rodgers is just still such a tough one. I'm going to go Rico above him. Rico 7. Rodgers 8.
I love it.
But let me say this.
Please.
The gap between Ryan Coleman Williams and Lazier Brooks, 1 and 2, will be bigger than the gap between 2. I'm not going to say 8. Between 2 and 6.
Wow. So are you of the opinion that Ryan dominates that much, or are you of the opinion that really it's Ryan and then everyone else?
I am of the opinion that Lazier Brooks is an incredibly talented football player, that he is one of Alabama. He's probably Alabama's leading 2027 receiver. But that if you look purely at the numbers, you might not be blown away this season. I am that high on the depth in the room. And if I'm looking at Ryan, I could see if you end up at 1,100 yards, right? Which I think is a very reasonable place for Ryan Coleman Williams to land. I don't think Lazier Brooks is hitting 700 this year. So if you are at 1,100 for Ryan and then maybe 650 for Lazier Brooks, you're at a gap of 450. That would mean your number 6 receiver on the team just has to be above 200 yards. I mean, I could, Lazier Brooks obviously will have the ability to just, he could go out and have a 150-yard game one week and just completely skew those numbers. And I could end up being very wrong on this. He has the talent to end up in that 800 range. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think Alabama needs him to be a very high volume guy. I think they are very fine with the idea of spreading these targets out, getting everybody involved. And I just think this is such a versatile passing offense that if you are expecting huge numbers out of Lazier Brooks. He may be a little underwhelmed. I'm in no way predicting a sophomore slump, though. I think he's still an incredibly talented receiver.
I don't disagree with anything you just said. Well, with most of what you just said. The only thing that I do disagree with, I think Sedarian Morgan is going to take over this room in 27. Past Lazier Brooks.
Yeah. It feels like Lazier might be a wide receiver 2 again.
Yes.
In a year. A career wide receiver 2 is not an awful.
Shoot, career. You can make a lot of money that way. Ask Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. Ask Jeremy Bernard, who is gone from the wide receiver 2 role at Bama to, I think he'll be a wide receiver 2 in the NFL for a really long time.
They got DK Metcalf, don't they?
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they have someone else in that. Oh, Pittman.
That's right. Is Jeremy Bernard one and done with Aaron Rodgers? Are they going to have to go look for a quarterback next spring?
If Aaron Rodgers plays more than 1 year, I will be absolutely stunned, Joe. You see, he said Aaron Rodgers might be older than his mom.
Yes, I saw that.
Also, let's just say credit where credit's due. Incredible decision wearing the Guardian cap. That news came out about Jeremy Bernard. He said he'd be wearing the Guardian cap full time.
Oh, good. All right.
It's smart. It's the right thing to do. Jeremy Bernard always has been just a really grounded guy. Good decision.
I mean, I think if it doesn't affect your game, it doesn't affect the way you play, then take all the protection that you can get.
Yes.
All right, let's keep going with some of these updates and some of these injuries. Wendell Hare in the comments says, so EJ out week 1, question mark. Kalen DeBoer met with or had a interview with Chris Lowe, had an interview with Chris Lowe and was talking about several of these injuries, and his comment on EJ was very vague. It was very vague. It was, I'm really excited about what Crowell can be. I've seen enough in fall camp to know. Going back to Monday, Wendell, basically still, we're hopeful that he's ready. I wouldn't put him as out for week 1, but I also would not be putting him with more than 5 carries if that's the case. If he does play week number 1, I think that they are trying to be as precautionary as possible with EJ for the sake of the for long-term health this season. So that is still kind of ambiguous. I'm gonna bet you barely see him against East Carolina. If you're gonna make me bet my $100 at one way or the other, that's gonna be my bet. Is that you barely see him against East Carolina. The other running back quote here in this interview with Chris Lowe is about A.K. Deer. And, hey, we've already been on good news with Noah Rogers. Here's you some more good news. His quote on A.K. Deer is, quote, he's going to miss a few games, but it's not going to be something where I expect him to miss 5 or 6 games. I think he should be back before then. So context clues, a few games, 2 games. Puts him back, your 3rd week is against Florida State, your 4th week is against South Carolina, your 5th week is against Mississippi State. He says, I don't expect him to miss 5 or 6 games. So somewhere between that Florida State and South Carolina game, A.K. Deer might be right back in the lineup.
Look, you got Jam Miller back for Georgia, and he hauled in the game, stealing reception. You get A.K. Deer back for Georgia, I think you're in a pretty good place.
Yeah, I think that's better news than even I, because you heard the, ankle roll, broken ankle. You heard the, all kinds of tightrope deal, tackle from behind, hip drop, lots of bad things after he was hurt in the scrimmage 2 weeks ago. And so to have him back, if you're only going to miss 2 games, if you're only going to miss 3 games, I would say that, again, to our point yesterday, while there are a lot of injuries, Alabama has been fortunate with the severity of these injuries.
Yes.
All right. I think that was all the stuff in this Chris Lowe, all the quotes real quick. Let me make sure that we're not missing any player here, any injured player. That is Noah Rogers. Yeah, he's going to miss some games, but the timeline is significantly sped up. We're looking at the end of October, maybe we were looking at the end of October, maybe early November, back when it first happened, and now we're much, much earlier than that in our minds. We'll see how it goes. He's got to feel confident, but he's out there working things and quickly reminded me how natural he is catching the ball and running routes. I'm excited to get him back out there when the time comes. He'll add a lot to the offense, assuming he can quickly get back in sync with Keelan and the rest of the group. So there we go. There's our full.
I think Wendell's comment here sums
please.
up great. It could be worse. You're not happy about injuries, but really could be a million times worse right now for this program.
Yes. If you're going to get AK back in 3 games, in 2, 3, 4 games, if you're getting Noah Rogers back before the end of October, if you're getting back the first week of October, man, I think you're really feeling good about that.
Extra weapon like that's fully into the offense by the time you go to play A&M, play LSU. It's what you want.
Yeah, I think you're really excited about that from an injury standpoint. If you are the Crimson Tide. All right, Theo, I think that's all the real pressing stuff that I have. Obviously, we're going to talk about the NFL and everything that happened yesterday with Lane Kiffin and the SEC and what's going to happen on Monday. Was there anything else that we needed to get to before I transition to that stuff? Am I missing something? Did I leave something off the table?
No, we didn't get any world-breaking stuff from Ryan Grubb. Just a bunch of stories, anecdotes about Keelan Russell. Read them on BamaCentral.com if you haven't.
That's right.
I don't have anything else.
Just checking, just making sure I'm not overlooking something. Sometimes that I have a tendency to do that. So let's transition here. Yesterday, during the recording of our show, the Big Ten basically said no NFL players, no professional players allowed in the Big Ten, and the SEC was left kind of behind on that. And essentially, the SEC had meetings yesterday and came up with the same rule, the same ruling. Let me pull up where's the like that I put? Twitter, you've messed me all up. Okay, they're right there. Likes. Because I hit like on the SEC statement yesterday. No, I don't want. There's Theo Fernandez's social media video. There we go, right here. All right. All right. Following the meetings with presidents, chancellors, and athletic directors of the Southeastern Conference, the SEC will enforce the following policy, Theo. This is what they put out. An SEC institution is not permitted to have an athlete on its roster who, number one, previously declared for the NFL, NBA, or WNBA draft and did not appropriately withdraw. Number two, signed a contract with an NFL or other professional football league, NBA, G League, or WNBA or affiliate team, or has been listed on an NFL or other professional football league, NBA, G League, or WNBA or affiliate roster. The commissioner is authorized to enforce this expectation with penalties against member institutions. And so, SEC says, I see you, Big 12, banning the NFL. We're going to go even further. No NBA, no G League, no WNBA. We're trying to cover all. We're trying to CYA as much as possible and nip this in the butt.
You notice what was missing from that list of leagues?
MLB.
Well, that for one.
MLB. What else? Hold on. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. NBA, WNBA.
Incredibly relevant in a few months.
NFL. It says other professional football leagues.
Yeah.
So that's USFL. That's UFL. That's all that stuff. Make me look like a fool. What am I missing?
Europe. We're not dealing with any of the root problem. The thing that started all of this, it's just, no, if you're from Europe, let's do whatever you want. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
And here's the thing. If you think
we have to be inclusive, Theo,
right now that this is it, that we're done with this issue, you have not been following college sports.
Oh, it's going to keep going to Monday. Keep going.
You know that this is going to drag out in a million different court cases. And then, I mean, it's just, we are on the verge of some just insane chaos, because what I think is about to happen is we'll get these TROs, we'll get case by case chaos happening with certain players being approved. And then, okay, is this guy allowed to play? Yes or no? Can he enter the transfer portal? Yes or no? Is he going to get an injunction to play this one game and then be banned? And after that, not allowed? Like, who knows what this is going to look like? I heard, and I haven't fact checked this, so it might be just wrong, or I might have read it wrong. Like, a Big Ten coach will be suspended or something if they have a player play? Was that part of the detail?
Yeah, they basically said it's 50% suspension if you do have a player if you do have a player on your roster. And so basically the Big Ten says we got big penalties.
I don't think the SEC matched that, probably because they know a certain coach is going to try it no matter what. I'm fascinated to see how this plays out. And let me throw one more out there for you. If I was the MAC conference, if I was the Mountain West conference, if I was the Pac-12 who feels screwed over the last situation, I'm saying, guys, let's build a super team. Let's get everyone from an NFL training camp to come play for us. And let's go have the year of our lives right now.
Well, that's what I think, like, because obviously you're seeing these Power 4 conferences kind of band together with the same stance on this, and people are like, you're seeing lots of opposite perspectives. Well, what if the MAC doesn't ban them? What if the MAC doesn't? Let them go play in the MAC. It's fine. You're not like, it drives me absolutely nuts. What's really happening? Go ahead.
I'm curious if the Big 12, I know they're expecting a similar decision, but don't you think those folks in Lubbock are saying, man, we need this. Come on, give us a win.
Well,
let us have it.
They're already trying to get Tommy Castellanos.
Yeah. Imagine what Texas Tech could do with all these guys.
Tommy C and them boys.
They've got a lot of extra NIL money laying around after their QB decided to go gamble a bunch. So this is not going to play out cleanly.
No. So what I followed, and like Theo, correct me if what I have followed is not what you have followed, but what I have followed, the way that I have dissected and digested this is that Lane Kiffin and LSU in the meeting yesterday were a little bit of the stinkers, a little bit of the, we need to do this. It's legal, so why not? It sounded like 14 schools against it, Lane Kiffin and company for it, and one school indifferent. And really what I have heard, what seems to be the fallout is that Lane Kiffin is encouraging these players to go, file their own, try to get their own temporary restraining orders. I guess there's court cases already scheduled in Baton Rouge on Monday for several of these players. And if the guys win the court cases, then I guess the court rulings supersede the SEC rules, which is absolutely crazy to think about. Lane Kiffin's comments to Pat McAfee yesterday or day before was essentially, we can't pick and choose which court orders or which rules we enforce, which rules we don't enforce. Basically Lane Kiffin just trying to make his roster better. But even at this point, Theo, I'm thinking about it from a football perspective. If I were coaching, we heard Ryan Grubb yesterday say, well, if you can add a player that can make your roster better, why wouldn't you? And at the bottom line, that makes sense. But like, here we are 10 days away from the season. 10 days away from the season. These jokers, at least at LSU, are going to court on Monday. That'll be 5 days away from the season. Are they opening with Clemson again?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So they're opening with a big time matchup with Clemson. Prove it for both schools.
A losable game.
Right. Losable for both games and prove it for both. Dabo's got to prove it. Lane Kiffin's got to prove it right off the bat. If I were a football coach and in a prove it situation in a week one, hey, I got to put my foot down, establish myself, and we got to have a good week. What? It makes zero sense to me to bring these jokers in to say, hey, you're going to go to court on Monday. If you get eligible, you're going to be at practice Monday afternoon, and we're going to spend these 4 days making sure you know the system. And the guys who spent all summer long and were here all fall camp, and sweating in the Baton Rouge heat, getting all tired, getting all sick, sweaty, and bloody, they're just going to go to the bench. From a competitive standpoint, I don't understand how you get a player up to speed on your system and into this guy, he's been here only a week. He's learned everything he needs to know. We're confident. We trust Coach Saban, you'd be sitting on the bench making sure that you knew the playbook. 8 months into it, you're like, I still don't trust you. I still don't trust. Like the Eli Ricks lived on the bench because he couldn't earn Coach Saban's trust. But like this situation, it's like, hey, we'll take a guy like Eli Ricks and just throw him right up there. Like, it doesn't make sense to me from a football coaching standpoint why you would just mix up all of the chemistry that you've curated over the last couple of months right here 5 days before the season on players who, obviously, if your point yesterday about, college and NFL levels are much different. And if you were on the fringe of the NFL, you're still probably a really, really good college player, an excellent college player. But you're sitting here 5 days before the season with championship aspirations, and you just want to say, hey, we'll take a tight end and start throwing them into the rotation. We'll take a defensive lineman and start throwing them into the rotation. It just doesn't make sense.
That was the question I tried to ask Ryan Grubb. He kind of took it in the more generic sense, and it was the last question, so I couldn't ask clarifying. But I wanted to get his perspective he's been everywhere positionally on the offense, and he's been in the NFL where they obviously add players mid-season all the time, right? So I wanted to get his perspective on, Coach, how would you guys work someone in this late? Because I agree with that piece of it pretty well. I think if you're going to add someone, it kind of needs to be somebody who's played in your system already. And even with that, Alabama, Cam Dewberry, I'm sorry, but playing for Coach Kapilovich is very different from playing for Coach Clem. So there's nothing that's going to fit perfectly. I don't necessarily agree with this comment from Wendell here. All the players that make your team better made it in the NFL. They wouldn't need to come back. That ignores the very real fact that there are plenty of very good college players that never make real NFL careers. There are players that, from a talent perspective, are able to change the landscape of college football. Just from a pure, if you dropped this guy on a team, they're good enough to move the needle. Thomas Castellanos, for example, had he gotten to Texas Tech at the start of fall camp, you could make the case that completely transforms the season for the Red Raiders. But now that we are into this whole dilemma that Joe just outlined, I would love to watch Thomas Castellanos play for a Texas Tech team that thinks it can win a national title with no experience. I would love to see how that goes. I just think it's going to be, you're going to have to pick and choose players, and you have to pick and choose very specific roles for players that they can fill. And then I guess you just got to try to bring them up to speed as the season progresses. But starting QB is not one of those positions. You see veterans who were acquired right before the start of a season or traded for midseason. You see them struggle to fit in. How is a mediocre ACC quarterback going to figure into things here? It's a very curious situation, but this is where I bring it full circle. It's absolutely ridiculous that the NCAA let it get to this point. It's absolutely ridiculous that we are having these conversations 4 days before the season and not 6 weeks before the season. The fact that I described it in my social media caption as a toddler-like ignorance.
Yes.
You have seen how the world responds to everything you do for the past 3 years, and you haven't learned a single thing from it. It did not take a rocket scientist to figure out that teams were going to try to take advantage of this. That the class of 22, the one class that did not get the opportunity to play more than 4 years, was going to be up in arms over it. The fact that you couldn't take preventative measures, that you couldn't have gotten out ahead of it just a little bit, should be blood boiling, should be infuriating. It's just, how are you this naive? How are you this dense as an organization? We should not be having these conversations right now.
10 days before week number 1 starts. 5 days before week zero really starts. 3 at this point. I mean, Wednesday, 35, it's 3.
It's absurd.
I don't understand how we're supposed to play. I mean, because let's be honest, part of our role is getting people excited about college football and trying to make sure that people are watching Alabama and reading our stuff and watching our show and, talk that sort of thing. I don't understand how I can play let's get pumped for college football this season when you don't know who's eligible on the roster 10 days before the season starts. And look, yesterday and Monday, the Big Ten, yesterday, basically the Power Four conferences did take a positive step yesterday, saying we're not accepting, in my opinion, we're not accepting these NFL players back. But it's criminal to the class of 2022, and it's criminal to the college football fan that you're dealing with this right now. Wendell's comment is exactly right, that this should have been done after the national championship game so that you can decide, well, I'm the class of 22er. Am I going to risk it and go to the league, or am I going to just stay in the portal and go find my seventh year, my whatever, my fifth year?
And that's, again, why I don't. Well, that's why I'm willing to side with the players on this.
The other way you could go around it is to say we're implementing 5-5, and when they did, but then say it starts with 2023's class. You guys have a full academic year to decide what you're going to do, if you're going to take that fifth year or not.
It's ridiculous to me.
Bad leadership.
Kind of can almost compare it to, I've been watching a lot of baseball lately, right?
I'm
really getting into the full swing of things. And the Yankees, I'm a huge Yankees fan. New York is playing great right now.
Yankees win.
Every time you watch baseball, you kind of have that dark cloud hanging over it. And when you remember that, well, we're probably not getting a season next year. And it's just one of those things you kind of remember mid-game sometimes, or when you're thinking about the sport, it kind of just brings you down a notch.
Mm-hmm.
This feels like it has that kind of effect, where I'm very excited for college football. I'm very excited for this Alabama season. I think Alabama will be relatively unaffected by all this stuff. And I think there's a lot of stuff to be excited about. But you kind of remember how broken everything is and how much this situation is going to linger. And it kind of just brings you down half a notch. I don't like it.
Well, Theo, I don't want to leave the people on a down note.
Yeah.
Do you want to leave them with something extremely exciting?
What's your good news of the day, Joe?
Holy smokes. I just put this in our private chat. Hunter Cyber just wrote this for BamaCentral.com. What are we doing here? Alabama basketball will face Auburn in an exhibition in October at Legacy Arena in Birmingham. Do you realize? That makes me do a backflip on this couch. We're getting an Iron Bowl before the season, an appetizer Iron Bowl that doesn't matter, but will matter.
In Birmingham?
Wow. That is a crazy. I'm sorry. Maybe you don't find it as crazy as I do, but the fact that two rivals are going to say, you know what, we hate each other enough to schedule an early season game, a test. Because look, Coach Oates is always, let's schedule as hard as we can. I want to test my team. I want to challenge my team. I want to figure out what we have. What better way to figure out what you have than to say, let's find the team that hates us, that wants to beat us the most, and let's get on the floor with them before the season starts and find out how competitive this roster is. Find out how intrinsically motivated this roster is. Is this roster going to embrace the Alabama culture, embrace the A, embrace Coach Oates' system? In Legacy Iron Bowl in Legacy Arena. I mean, look, the BJCZ games are fun. When you've had Gonzaga, you've had Arizona, you've had Liberty, you've had a lot of good teams in there, and the crowd gets pumped. It is loud in there. And now we're going to do a split crowd? Are you kidding? Sign me up today. October 22nd, Legacy Arena, Alabama and Auburn are playing an exhibition, an exhibition, non-exhibition.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be fighting in that game. This is a couple of days after, this 7 days after Alabama takes on Ole Miss in Ballin and Boutwell, also in Birmingham. So very unique and interesting from my perspective to play two SEC schools for your preseason exhibitions that give you a taste of the season. And not only two SEC schools, but one major rival.
Yeah, I like it because you can use Ole Miss as kind of just the relax. Let's actually try things out. Let's treat it like a preseason game because Auburn will not be a preseason game. You're not experimenting.
You're
with
1-0
your lineup.
or 0-1
Yeah.
right off the bat.
That's great because, first of all, I can't say enough great things about how awesome Nate Oates is as a scheduler. It's incredible. I don't care what his ulterior motives for scheduling certain games have been in the past. You love to see this level of competition. And now I feel like Auburn just raises it up a notch. You give the team real stakes, right? Before the season even starts. And you give your players, those who are new to the program, a taste of what this game is like.
It's going to be gross in Legacy Arena that night.
I believe that Alabama plays at Auburn first this year before playing in Tuscaloosa. I think it's home against Auburn on like the last day of the season.
I believe so.
You'll be a little more prepared, I think, for stepping into Neville Arena. I think you'll be a little more ready to go face the Tigers on the road. I am so excited for that atmosphere. I hope they give us enough credentials that we can all go and see it.
Oh, that brings me.
Awesome.
What day of the week is that going to be? October 22nd is a Thursday. All right, so there we go. That makes me excited. Start Stephen Pearl's second year off 0-1.
Oh yeah, and for Auburn, I mean, everything from last year is forgotten if you win a little exhibition before the start of your second season against Alabama. It is a high stakes game for both these programs.
I love it. I think it's great. And so
this might be the start of an annual tradition.
Please, let's do it. Let's do that. Because I just think that is such a fun concept and a great way to prepare your team for the season. Oh, Theo, I think that's all I have for the day. Oh, my gosh. I had one more tab open right there. Bam. I want to shout out my friend Wendell Hare. He's been living in our comments the last couple of days, and we appreciate him really taking care of us and supporting us. And we want to the other day I told you about it. He's got an outdoor channel where he's doing cooking recipes and really hunting tips and football stuff where he's really trying to get you ready for the culture of football, that is. So you can check him out at the dadgumoutdoors.com. The dadgumoutdoors.com. He's got podcast episodes. He's got stories. He's got recipes. He's got all kinds of things, hunting tips, fishing tips, how to cook whatever game that you catch. So make sure you check him out, the dadgumoutdoors.com. We appreciate Wendell Hare. We appreciate all of our listeners and viewers.
We actually have one more.
Oh, yeah, please.
One more piece of news that just
Let's
broke.
do it.
Alabama has a 2029 season opener. I know this is world-breaking stuff.
Oh, man. What little sister of the poor is it?
Louisiana Tech.
Oh, okay.
August 25th, 2029, which seems that's a week early.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a week 0 game.
I have no idea. 4 years out. I have no idea. 3 years out.
Well, I'm just thinking about this have we moved up week 1? I know we're talking about needing to end the season by a certain point, right? And we're also looking at the prospect of an expanded playoff.
I have no idea.
They might have jumped. I'm interested to look into that.
Maybe they did.
Because that's earlier than a week 1 would ever normally be. And I do not think that Alabama is playing a week 0 home opener against Louisiana Tech.
Well, honestly,
I wouldn't hate it.
The only pushback, actually I might give you is if you play a week 0, does that give you an extra bye week?
Yeah, no, and if that is the case, I would be.
Let's play on week 0 right now, right?
Yeah.
Snag an extra bye week. So we'll find out. We'll research that over the next day. But Alabama, Louisiana Tech opening 2029. Oh, gosh. Hopefully I'm still here by then. We'll find out. We'll find out what that is. So we'll see. But great. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk to Kane Womack. Kane Womack is going to be in front of the media today. So you can be able to see that on the BamaCentral YouTube channel. I'm sure he's going to give us an update on Jaira Edwards. Matt Zenna is reporting that Jaira Edwards' broken arm not going to cost him that much time. I really bet you he's going to cast it up and be out there in 3 weeks. And so we'll find out more about that from Ken Womack. We'll talk about all kinds of defensive stuff with him today, and you'll be able to see it on BamaCentral.com. We appreciate Purple Turtle Roofing for sponsoring the program. We appreciate Derek Daniels, State Farm Insurance, for hosting the show. We will talk to you again tomorrow right here on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com.